Hello, everyone. Can anybody hear me? Hello, hi. Can anyone hear me? Hello, Scientist Yusuf. Lovely having you here. Join us today. Hello, Rita. Hello, everyone. Oh, lovely, lovely. Please, we're giving time to wait for others to join us. So if you're joining us, please put your name in the comment section where you're joining us from. I'd love to see everybody. Hello, Mr. Peter. Can you hear me now? Is it clearer? Hello, can you hear me? Okay, lovely. Hello, can you hear me? So we can start now. Hi, I welcome all of you all today to a free webinar that is being hosted by Lab Systems Africa. Yes, so my name is Scientist Delia. Our topic today, what we'll be discussing, this is going to be as interactive as it can be. So please use your comment section or your comment box a lot. We're going to be asking a lot of questions. I'm going to be answering a lot of questions. Okay. Um, the topic today is actually a very interesting one. I'm a recent graduate and I don't know where to start my career from. It's a free career webinar hosted by my humble self, Scientist Delia Johnson. I'll get to introduce myself very soon. Meanwhile, for the people who are joining us now, please introduce yourself. Your name, what you do. Are you an intern? Are you a student? Are you a biomedical scientist? Are you a biomedical technician? Are you here to learn? Please, it's very important that you introduce yourself. Hello, Ifoma Ifoma Ugu. Welcome. Um, non Nonhal. I'm so sorry, but welcome. Your names are all very lovely, and I welcome you all to this webinar. We're gonna have 2 hours from 3 to 5 p.m. Nigerian time, and I trust that you get to learn something today. So, what are our objectives for this? At the end of this webinar, I'm actually expecting you to understand why many graduates, struggle after school. Discover the different career paths that are actually available to you as a biomedical scientist. I want you to learn the skills that employers actually want, and then we're going to create a practical roadmap for your career and also leave with actionable next steps. So if I don't keep my word, then you know that, okay, yeah, you didn't learn anything from here. But these are the things, these are the learning objectives. This is what I want you to go home with. I want you to go home with clarity on each and every of this point. Okay, so meet your speaker. Like I said, my humble self, my name is Delia Johnson. First, for my undergraduate degree, I am a biomedical scientist. I don't know what it is called in your country because we have people joining us. Yes, let me shout out to people joining us from Ghana, from Sudan, etc. And I am so excited to see each and every one of you here. I'm so sorry if I didn't mention your country. You are you are distinguished, you are recognized, and I'm excited to see you here. Okay, so back to meet your speaker. Like I said, my name is Delia Johnson. I am a biomedical scientist for my first degree, and for my second degree, I studied public health epidemiology specialty. I am the founder of Lab Systems Africa. This is it's a platform where I organize a platform primarily for strengthening laboratory systems across Africa through trainings, through resources, through mentorship, etc. We're trying to close the gaps that is being faced in the diagnostic sector on as a unit. And so this was created to basically achieve that. And also, I'm a quality management systems consultant. What that means is I am someone who has tried, or I have endeavored to study a lot about quality management in the lab and enforce quality or incorporate quality into the kind of results that we give out over the years, and into myself as a person, my work ethics. And so I've achieved a lot of qualifications in that field, and I can also teach on quality management and systems. So I'm quite passionate about strengthening laboratory systems and empowering lab professionals across Africa. So this is who I am, and I'm so excited to have you here once again. Please, if at any point you cannot hear me, you can put it in the comment section and we'll try to check why you cannot hear me. So let me give you my story, because for many people, they're just getting to know who I am. Like I said, I graduated as a medical laboratory scientist. If I'm being very honest with you guys, I didn't want to study MLS. Yes, I'm going to be very honest. MLS was something I stumbled on. Before becoming a biomedical scientist, I didn't know what MLS was. It wasn't something I had even remotely heard of once in my life, as a teenager growing up. I didn't know what MLS was. I'm very certain for some people, especially for some Nigerians, I really do not know how it works in other countries. If what you apply for is what is being given to you in the university, but for my country, it's not always the case. Okay, and so I ended up in biomedical science. And for the first 3 years, it was as if I was moving in a fog. I was trying to understand what this course was all about. The only reason why I accepted to do the course was because I had medical inside. Okay. That was the only reason why I said, okay, you know what? Let me get to do this course, And so that was how I found myself in uh in biomedical science, and I did it. Okay, I finished it, and then I went ahead to do my internship. Now, during the internship period, one thing stood out because I did my internship in a government institution here in Nigeria. One of the things that stood out is I wasn't very impressed when I saw my seniors. They looked like people who were suffering. They looked like people who didn't like the profession. There was no support, coming from them. I didn't see anybody to look up to as a role model per se, because everybody made it look like the profession was one thing. You just come and suffer for nothing. Okay, there was nothing interesting, and so I became even more angry. Initially, I didn't want to study this course, and now practicing the course is not even giving me any sense of fulfillment. Now, that 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 confusion was what led me to become voracious in terms of continuous learning. I needed to. There was this desire to really understand why I'm here, because biomedical science here in Nigeria is a 5 year course. In fact, I spent more than 5 years in school, not on my own volition, but the systems. And so I now said, if I had spent this number of years learning this course, I mean, are you trying to tell me that I just wasted my time? Because my senior colleagues were like, oh, there's no money in biomedical science. Oh, everybody was just on the bench doing routine over and over again. They are pipetting the same thing. You come the next day, you are repeating the same thing. There was nothing interesting about biomedical science. And so during my internship, I became dissatisfied. Yeah, that's the word. I was quite dissatisfied about what I was seeing, in practice. And so I became a voracious reader. I needed to get out. That was the first thing on my mind. I am not going to work in the lab. I want to leave. I want to get out. I don't want to be like my seniors. I don't want to become to limit myself the way they were. Okay. Now I'd come back to that statement because for some people, they'll be like, exactly. I don't want to be in the lab too. Da, 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 da. Mm-mm. The lab is not all bad, right? It's not even bad. It's the foundation for whatever you are actually going to build as a biomedical scientist, except you do not want to use your certificate, except you do not want to use your certificate as an MLS. But if you intend to use your certificate as an MLS, you cannot escape the lab. I just want that caveat to be there before we proceed. And so, continuous learning, I started getting a lot of certificates online, offline, networking, just meeting people to really understand what this biomedical science was all about. I kept asking, are you because I'm a clinical chemistry major, and so am I going to be culturing samples all my life? Is this that dissatisfaction was what made me decide to do something that many people had not done, to step out, to immerse myself in understanding biomedical science, because remember, I didn't even want to study this course in the first place. And so back then in school, there was this particular field. I'm trying to give, for those who are joining us, my name is Scientist Delia, and I'm trying to give a background or a story of who I am and how I came to this point. So back then in school, there was this particular place or area that was looking very lucrative. It's cancer research. Everybody back then in school wanted to be a cancer researcher. Everybody wanted to find a cure for cancer, and it rubbed off on me. Actually, it did. It actually rubbed off on me. My supervisor, my undergraduate testing supervisor, was into cancer oncology, and so she's someone who I look up to, and I decided that, you know what, I'm going to go into cancer research. And so, like I always do, the first thing I do if I have something that is interesting to me is to go and take free courses online. So I want you to note that there is a place for online courses. And that online courses I started doing gave me clarity. Now, one of the platforms I used then was Coursera. As of then, Coursera used to be relatively free. And so I took a lot of cancer courses, but there was something that stood out. I couldn't finish any of the courses. I just couldn't finish any of my courses. Um, I couldn't finish any of my courses, my cancer courses. And I, I was like, I wasn't enjoying it. And this was a course I wanted to go and do for masters. So I just decided to put a break on my plans and just really understand what I wanted to get into, because I had spoken to a lot of seniors and nobody could give me any sense of direction. So I had to find a sense of direction. And so the cancer courses I started doing, I couldn't finish one. They are still there in my if you log into my Coursera, you still see them there. I couldn't finish it because I did not understand anything. Like, it wasn't interesting to me. And so I knew that this is not a field I would thrive in. However, back in school, I used to volunteer a lot. I used to volunteer for medical outreaches. I used to volunteer to give out food to the less privileged. I used to volunteer to be among the people who do, these things that students do where they do finger prick glucose testing, finger prick HIV, hepatitis testing using the strip and all. I used to be very good in volunteering for those things. And so I started asking questions and I discovered that there's a field called public health, right? Field. Because when I started looking at organizations that I would like to work with in the future, I saw that public health was something that was core. And so I thought that in public health, right? Now, why am I giving you this story? I'm trying to let you understand that the journey to understand yourself is very important, and it can actually inform on your decision on what to do after school. Also, the things that you did in school can actually be a pointer to the things you are supposed to be doing after school. And then after that, I founded Lab Systems Africa, which I have explained before now. Now, what were the mistakes I made earlier on in my career? First, I thought graduation was enough. Even though I wasn't very serious because I was pursuing the course I actually intended to do in my first 2, 3 years, I still graduated with good results, but I felt graduation was enough. And then when I came out of school, I was as confused because what I saw on the bench was not what I would have loved to do for long term. And it was looking like there was nothing I could use this profession to do. We were so much. In my class, we were about 450 that started, even though we were not the same that finished. But that can give you a calculation roughly of, imagine a class of 450 times 5, right? Because you have 5 years. That gives you a rough calculation of how populated the biomedical science field is. I do not know if it's the same with your country, so I'm using mine as a standard. Do you understand? And so I quickly came to the understanding that I have to do something extra to stand out in this field. Else I'll just end up like these people who are frustrated, but they don't have any way out and they're just sitting on the bench. And I didn't have a career roadmap. Why? Because primarily because I didn't want to study this course. So there was no career roadmap. There was nothing to, I didn't know what to do with it. But as I got on, it formed in my head. Okay. But this was part of the mistakes I had. I underestimated networking. For many people, especially those who are introverts, who do not hang out or who don't even know their colleagues, I think this is for you. There are many people who are not very good in establishing themselves with others, and that actually plays a role. We'll get to talk about that soon. And then I focused on technical skills. I was so immersed in learning how to streak, pull, secondary, primary, streaking. I was immersed in learning how to prepare. I was so immersed in knowing how to do creatinine test and urea test and this test and that test. I was just focused on technical skills. But outside of school, you need more than technical skills to stand out. I also didn't understand personal branding, and we'll talk about that much later. And I also waited for opportunities instead of me preparing for them. How? I had just my certificate, like many people who are here. Can you ask yourself right now, like, do you have anything that makes you stand out except your BMLS certificate? Do you have anything content that makes you stand out? If you do not have, then you are like me, who used to wait for opportunities rather than preparing for them. Now, why I started Lab Systems Africa, like I said, many labs struggle with quality systems. You'll be so surprised that there are many laboratories currently who do not really do anything as related to quality controls, who do not even understand quality controls. There are many labs who do not invest in their lab staffs. There are many systems who do not invest in their lab staffs in terms of building their capacity, workforce development, and there's a mentorship gap. You can barely, or no, I won't say barely, but it is not very common to see an older lab scientist who is willing to mentor you as a person, who is willing to, I mean, one-on-one mentoring, telling you take this step, take this step, take this step, take this step, take this step. It's not very common. Okay. So many graduates now end up struggling with, lack of guidance, the career confusion, poor access to practical resources. There are not many platforms that teach core biomedical topics, skills. There are not many. What we see most times is people organizing this workshop, the other workshop, but like a standard place where you can go to learn. You know how someone like a doctor can go online a particular place and is learning things about being a doctor. They also have, I think they have something like that for nurses. For us, we really do not have that, except you are preparing for ASCPI or you're preparing for CORU or you're preparing for all those international exams. We don't really have, something like that. And that's what prompted me to establish Lab Systems Africa. Now, to our core topic. Now, why do many graduates and early career professionals feel so lost. And there's something I call 50% versus 50%. Okay. Now, in school, we are being taught a lot about technical skills. But I want to ask, would you say the things you are experiencing after school, would you say that you were prepared for them in school? Please, I would like your responses in the comment section. I want to know if you're actually following our conversation. The things you, when you came outside, the things you're seeing now as regards employment requirements and what is actually obtainable as a biomedical scientist, and the things you were taught in school, would you say that your university prepared you completely for outside post graduation? I'm waiting for your answers. Do you understand my question? Hello, is anybody there? Okay, yes, I've seen Beta. She said not really. Okay, not really. Other people, would you say that when you were in school, what happened when you were in school? What they taught you in school, did it really prepare you for what you came out to see? Okay, okay, okay. I'm seeing your answers. No, 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 no. Okay, okay. Thank you so much for responding. It means you're actually following our conversation. And that's why many of us feel lost 50 versus 50. Sometimes I'm like, is it that the lecturers didn't actually know that what they are teaching us, it doesn't suffice to survive what is out there? For example, there's many models, like some of the models, if I can remember, you see models like pathology, you see medical microbiology, parasitology. Yes, that is why I say 50 versus 50. The 50% that they taught us, right, is basically and primarily the 50% they taught us is technical skills. I would even say 40, right? They just taught us the clinical aspect of biomedical science. Other things like QMS, things like Kappa, things like ISO 15189, things, even soft skills were not developed in school. And that is why when you apply for an entry level role, you start seeing them list things like GDPR, good laboratory practice. They're listing things like you should have hands on experience in some certain machines, LIS, that's Laboratory Management Information System. And you are like, but I am a fresh graduate. Where do they want me to learn this one from? And for some people, they were not even exposed to this during their internship period. So it even makes things worse. And so that is part of the reasons why many people feel lost. Now, developing these things is another thing entirely. How do you develop what is not readily out there and what employers will not employ you to teach until you have it? It's just a case of a chicken and an egg situation, right? Employers are telling you, I need you to have, there are at least things I learned. Yeah, employers are telling you that I you need to be employed to have these skills. So the question is, where do they want us to get these skills from? That was the question I was asking myself. Employ me and let me learn it. You are asking me to have the skills first. So that's why many graduates and early career professionals actually feel lost. What we were not taught seems to even be more than what we were taught. And then degree versus skills. It's when you come out of university that you get to understand that your degree is the least thing you even need, right? Because there are 1,001 people, millions rather, with degrees, biomedical degrees, but just a fraction of them have the skills that are needed. And worse, just a number of employers will be willing to teach you the skills that you do not have. And so we go to the next one, common career mistakes. The first one is starting late. Now, this is for early career professionals and people in school. Remember the story I was telling you, right? About me volunteering back in the university. That became like a foundation for um, my public health career that I am building on currently. That volunteering experience. There are many people who just bury their heads in school. Nothing. Their head is just in school. And it's okay because, like I said before, you need the knowledge of biomedical science. Look at biomedical science knowledge as the foundation. But foundation is not what people pack and move into. There are other things that are on the foundation. You have the pillars, you have the doors, you have the building itself, you have the roof, you have the windows. Those things are what make the house. Biomedical science degree is your foundation, but you are the builder. There are many more things that you need to work on to be able to have a house. And so starting late is part of the reason why, or part of the mistakes that many people actually make starting late, just burying their heads in school. I was part of those kind of people. You know what this there are many things that they used to do back then in school, like award nights and all. I didn't attend one of it, and I still regret it to today because if I had been part of things that were happening in school, maybe I would have, learned how to network and make friends and build relationships after school. I did that work when I had finished school already. Another mistake is believing graduation is enough. I'm certain from your answers, you already know that graduation is not enough, and then applying to every and any biomedical job without a strategy. Very, very soon. Applying to every and any biomedical job without a strategy, ignoring networking like me, and then chasing certificates without developing practical skills. So let me speak on this. For many people who joined this, I'm sure they saw me on LinkedIn, right? And on that same platform, that's one of the most intimidating platform. I'm sure you can agree with me that LinkedIn is actually very intimidating. You will just feel like you're left behind. Am I right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? Or I'm the only one that feels that way, that LinkedIn is actually very intimidating. Hello, remember, we're having an interactive section. Okay, thank you very much for responding. So yes, LinkedIn can actually be very intimidating. You just feel like, oh, what am I doing with my own life? Especially if the people you are seeing are the people you graduated with. It can be very, very intimidating. But you're not alone. Even people who are even doing well still get intimidated. Me, I do get intimidated. So chasing certificates without developing practical skills is actually something that many people do. You see people who post certificates every 2 days, 3 days. It is okay to get these certificates, but you have to apply these things so that you can be able to prove that you know what you are doing. Do you understand? Now, we're going to come back to this when we talk about the different careers the different things you can do with biomedical science, because I do not think it makes any sense for you to gather certificates in different fields, even the one that doesn't even concern you. You understand? You are building a brand. Every single one of you represents a brand. You are presenting yourself. And so if you are going to do this degree for a long time, after picking the path you would like to do, I would advise that you go for certificates that are in tandem with what you are doing. Don't be like me who wanted to do cancer research and I had no interest in it. Just because I want to show that I am making progress with my life, how will I wake up and go and take a certificate in maybe aviation or something very random or something that even makes no sense to what I'm currently doing now? It's actually a waste of time. So that's part of the things people do. They just chase certificate and they pack all those certificates to put on their CV. The truth is, if I have sat on interview panels, right? And if I see all those mixed up certificates that doesn't really have any connection with each other, I just know that you may not really know what you're doing per se. Okay. Another common career mistakes is not understanding quality management system. Honestly, this is one field that every employer is tilting and leveraging towards because almost every employer now wants their lab to be ISO accredited, ISO certified, and you cannot. Do you know what is ISO? Before I even, does anybody here know doesn't know what ISO means? Is there anybody that doesn't know or knows what ISO means? Which one? ISO, ISO, ISO. Is there anyone that doesn't know what ISO means, or is there anyone that knows what ISO means? Okay, International Standard of Organization. Do we know it's based on the name? Do we actually know what it represents? When you hear ISO, do you actually know what it represents? Not just the definition. Let's say you are sitting in an interview panel. Can you say what ISO represents? Okay, that's good. I know ISO. Beautiful. Apart from the name, do we know what it represents? Or why we tilt towards it in MLS, in biomedical profession? Do we know? Okay, so let me just continue, okay? So not understanding quality management system is part of the common career mistakes. As a 21st, what century are we, sir? 21st or 22nd? As a current biomedical professional, this is not just for lab scientists, this affects lab technicians, clinical scientists, whatever. Everybody now is tilting towards ISO 15189, which is the ISO that affects clinical laboratories. And to build a system where you are ISO accredited, you need this here. You need your quality management system. You need it. It's very important. And so if you don't know ISO, it's not just the name. Exactly. It's not just exactly. I love the answers you guys are giving me. Ensuring work standards meets outcome for patients. Quality management system, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for responding. So it's not just to, like I said, you have to be able to also apply it. Now, another career mistake is ignoring technology. I don't think there are recent labs. Well, I've not really worked in a manual lab before since I finished my first degree. But every laboratory now is trying to tilt towards technology, using automated methods to do their, thank you so much, Jacob, using automated methods to do their lab tests. Semen analysis now is automated. Stool microscopy is automated. Malaria testing is automated, clinical chemistry is automated, hormones are automated, coagulation is automated. So you cannot strive as a biomedical scientist or a biomedical professional if you are ignoring technology. If you are ignoring technology, that is one common mistake. And when I talk about technology, for us in the lab practice, it involves two things. First, it involves the knowledge of the technology and how to operate it. Operating it is not the way other people operate it. We're talking about calibrating, we're talking about quality control, we're talking about operating the machine, one. And two, when we talk about machines, we're talking about laboratory information. When we talk about technology, we're also talking about laboratory information system, which is laboratory management information system. Okay, that is another aspect that many people overlook in terms of technology. Failing to document your achievements, the things you have been able to achieve, you should be able to document them down. In fact, if you are in one job, you should be able to write down this your achievements, they become your CV. There are many things that you have actually achieved. I'm sure many people are thinking to themselves when they see big big jobs adverts, they are like, hey, I'm not up to this, or I do not match this. Apart from the years of experience, which I really do not care about when I'm applying for a job, there are many achievements you have been able to do, but because you don't document them down, you don't remember them enough to craft them and put it on your CV. That's actually a career mistake. Soft skills, development, leadership, analytical thinking, teamwork. Many people do not bother to develop themselves in this aspect. And then limiting yourself to hospitals and laboratory, and also comparing your journey to others. So we're going to be asking ourselves one question. What exactly interests me? Now you're done with the university, and for some people who have tested the laboratory, can you tell me a question? What interests you? What do you think interests you? Now, what interests you can be different things. It can be you are someone who is fascinated with data. You are someone who is fascinated with research. You are someone actually who likes the bench. I'm not against the when I say bench, I mean the clinical practice. You might be someone who is so comfortable with bench work. There are people who are fascinated with research, the machines themselves. You just see that you want to know how this machine works. You are can you hear me? Okay, that's good then, since you can hear me. So there are questions we have to ask ourselves. Okay, what's happening? Someone said no. Okay, what's happening? Oh, Jesus, what's happening? Okay. How about now? Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? Okay, beautiful. I think the network is back. Please, if you can't hear me at any point, please put it in the comment section so I can pause and reaccess what the problem is. Okay. So, um, the career mindset shift. You have to ask yourself three pertinent questions. The first one is, what exactly interests me? Like I said, I'm not somebody who is interested in uh lab work. I'm not interested in it. Okay. Not like not like I'm not interested in it. Okay. Um I am not particularly fascinated by the idea of repeating the same thing over and over and over again. Mr. Aaron, please, maybe you should log out and log back in, because I think every other person can hear me except you. Okay. So the first thing we ask ourselves is, what exactly interests me? Another question we ask ourselves is, do I want to do bench MLS, or do I want to do more? Please, Do not make these decisions just based on what everybody is doing. Okay? Please do not make this decision just based on what everybody is doing. Like I said, your mindset shifts with three questions. First, what exactly interests you? You can sit down and write. You must not even be in the lab. What do you like doing? What do you like doing? Like I said, for someone like me, I like field work. I like being in the field. I like making decisions. I've always been that person who makes decisions. I like policy. So I just tilted towards policy, global health policy. I like mentorship. I like people to get to have more knowledge from me. I like people to know, like, I like inculcating knowledge. I love to teach. And so mentorship is also part of the things I love to do. Okay, so what interests you? Are you someone that likes data? You are a very good person in statistics. Back then, when you were in school, you loved a lot of statistics. You write it down. Are you somebody that is fascinated with their machines, how they do their machines, how they make the machines? Are you somebody perhaps who is interested in academics? Maybe when you were in school, you saw the way your lecturers used to lecture and you wanted to come back to lecture, both in your country or outside your country. Okay. Or are you somebody who is interested in research? You see researchers, people who had cure for cancer, people who had cure for this, who have cure for that. Maybe you did your undergraduate thesis and then you just discovered that, you know what, I think I want to go into research. What interests you? You must not stay on the bench and you also must not leave the bench. It just depends on what interests you. Do I want to do I want to be a bench practitioner or do I want to be more? And after you've done that, you now start thinking, so how can I become more valuable? How can I offer value based on these things that I have said? So I want you to understand that there is also more than one career path. And you must not box yourself in. Please don't put any pressure on yourself. Don't put any pressure on yourself. Um, let's say you are between 1 to 3 years. That means that's 1 to 3 years of practice. That means you're still an early career professional. And if you are still in school, please, I want to say this. If you are still in school, like I gave an illustration of a foundation and a building. If you don't know biomedical science, just forget about even going into any other field. There are many, it's quite appalling that there are many medical laboratory scientists who are not even good on the bench. The bench is the foundation for everything. Do you understand? You have to have the technical knowledge. Remember the 50% versus 50%. Get the 50%. Be good in it. Be good in the bench. Be good on the bench. Be good in biomedical science. Be good in correlating. You know that if you see this result and you see this result, you can know the reason why this result is this one is that. Please be good in it. Okay? And then when you are good in it, also do not just put your head only in your book. Get involved in other things. If you are a politician, please play your politics because you can still be a biomedical scientist and still come out and thrive in politics. Okay, it is just the foundation. It's like a tree that has so many branches. You choose the path you want to take. Okay, now there's more than one career path. I know in the conversation we've had, I have mentioned some. So let's get to it. Tell me the career path that you know that biomedical science can branch into. I'd want to see so many answers in the comment section. What are the career paths that you know? Can you share any? What are the career paths that you know? What are the career paths that you know? Academia, yes, academia is one of them. Let's get others. Rita, do you want to go into academia? Because you said it first. Ah, okay. Research, yes, research is another one. Okay, let's get into it. Research, okay. Chigazi, I've seen yours. Research. QAC, I love this. Public health, beautiful. QAC, quality assurance coordinator, okay. That's good. That's good. This also pays well, I think. It's actually a very good job. Exactly. Good, good, good. You love to teach. So you see that you can use what you love to do to further to know where you're supposed to go to because you have to do what you love. We spend so much time in our jobs that you can't afford to be doing what you hate. You have to do what you think you love and you can find some sort of fulfillment from. We've only mentioned four. We have other people. Please do not hide yourself. And while you are at it, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel while you are here. Just click on the subscribe button, like, and subscribe. Thank you very much. So, yes, can we have other people? Is this all we know? What do we use? What can biomedical science degree branch into for us? Good. A lab internal and external auditor. They also are people who pay well. That's good based on my country, though. Yes. Okay. Can we have other people? Please, can we have other answers? At least I should get like 10. Else, I know that, okay, we don't really know or we don't want to say. Please, can we have other people? I need three more answers. What can we do with a biomedical science degree? Clinical chemistry, yes, you can work on the bench as a clinical chemistry specialist or a clinical chemistry scientist. Good, beautiful. One, two more answers. I've not seen Aaron. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. We are here to spark the interest, okay? And crocheting and selling your products. It's good. It's good, good, good. You can also go back. Yes, of course, you can get the recordings. It will be here in the YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe and to like the channel. Okay, please don't lose interest in MLS. So we need more people who are quality focused and are ready to do the work. Okay, so thank you for sharing the ones you know. Let's talk about some of them. The first one, immunology and hematology, yes. Biomedical engineering, yes, beautiful. You can quality management consultant, yes, beautiful. Yes. So immunology, hematology, of course, of course, of course, of course. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So let's get into it. We have less than 1 hour left. Clinical laboratory equipment marketing, beautiful. Clinical laboratory practice is one of them. Now, that's where we have this our immunology, our hematology, our clinical chemistry, etc. This particular one, they work in the hospitals, they work in labs, they work in clinics. Okay, the first one. And then we have jobs for them, which are MLS, senior scientist, laboratory manager, head of department. That falls under the first one, clinical laboratory practice. So you can decide to, I am a head of department in the lab I work. So I'm into leadership. I'm into that also. Yes, supply chain management, beautiful. So I'm into that also, clinical laboratory practice. Okay. Auditor, yes, beautiful. Thank you so much for responding. Now, the next one is public health professional. Public health professionals is something also you can go into from biomedical science. Okay, Ministry of Health, you know, your disease control programs in your country, public health laboratories, etc., falls under this public health professional. And then we also have jobs for them like your surveillance officers, your public health scientist, epidemiologist, program officer also falls under here. Okay. And then the third one is research and academia. Many people mention research. Here they work in universities, they work in research institutions, they work in they do clinical trials, pharmaceutical research. So you see that a biomedical scientist can also go into pharmacy, can also be in the pharmaceutical field because you can work as a pharmaceutical researcher, even as a biomedical scientist. Now, the people here on the job roles here include research scientist, research assistant, research assistant, lecturer, and then clinical research associate. They fall under this one. And then we have molecular diagnostics and genomics. Please, this field is one Hello, can you guys hear me? So sorry, I had a network glitch. Can you hear me now? Hello, can anybody hear me? Can you guys hear me? I'm talking. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Please, can you log out? Can you hear me? Okay, yes. I'm getting some good response now. Can you hear me now? We need to wrap this. Can you hear me? Okay, beautiful, beautiful. So let's get ahead because of our time. So molecular genetics and genomics. I got a question from Rita. I'm going to respond to that at the end of this section. I'm going to respond to all the questions. Okay. And then another field you can go into is quality management system. Okay. For this, you need for quality management system, what you basically need is to get into more courses, to take courses in quality management system, and then get hands-on experience in quality management system. How I got into quality management system was I grew, how would I call it, from a bench scientist. I took a lot of courses, and then in the company I was working then, I I applied to become a QC officer who was under a QC manager. And so I started learning quality management system. While I was doing that, getting the experience, I was also reading a lot and getting a lot of certifications. Certifications are very important for you to go into this particular field, quality management system. And then another field is tech. If you are somebody who is a computer guru, you can build an EMR. An EMR is an electronic medical record system. You can build an EMR. Do you understand? You can build an EMR, and you even have more understanding because you're building it as someone who is a biomedical professional. So tech is it. You can also build a laboratory management information system and sell it. You can build you can build you can also build an LMIS and sell it. You can build things that people can use in the lab, technologies that we can use in the lab to make things good for us. You can build a system where patient records are imputed. You don't need to document it on a paper or something, a paperless system. Okay, so that is for tech. Please, I would respond to the questions. We have 30 minutes for question and answer. So just give me a short while. Let me go through this and I'll respond to all your questions. Now, another field is diagnostic industries and medical technology. Yeah, I did mention something for quality management systems. Um, they work in the hospital, accreditation bodies, diagnostic networks, and consulting firms. That's where, if you choose to go into this field, that is where you can work. Okay. Now, the roles you can hold includes being a quality officer, being a quality manager, being an ISO consultant, and like one person said here, a laboratory auditor. This falls under quality management systems. Okay, and then the next one is diagnostic industries. No, you don't need to specialize in molecular during internship. No, you don't need to. You don't need to have specialized in it. However, like I said, you need to have hands-on experience. So if you specialize in it during internship, please remove it from your regular internship on your CV. And if you are applying for a molecular role, put it as its own experience. We'll talk about CV soon. Put it as his own experience on his own. It's going to stand on his own. It's too big to just lump it into internship. You remove it and you put it as his own experience. We'll come back to that. So yes, diagnostic industries and medical technology is another field that someone can work. Where can they work? They work in medical device companies. You can generally like a lot of them. Okay. I hope you can hear me. So that's for diagnostic medical technology. Here you work as an application specialist. You can work as a product specialist, even as a biomedical scientist. Do you understand? But you first have to have the degree. Okay, good. Thank you, Joseph. So This is another field that you can work in. Another one is entrepreneurship and consultancy. Entrepreneurship and consultancy. Now, in this field, that lady that talked about crocheting, I think you'll do very well here. Okay. You can decide to start your own lab, but starting your own lab, right? It's something that you should only do if you have worked on the bench for long, because I don't believe you can lead if you have not experienced it. Okay. I personally have been able to set up 2 laboratories, right? But I was only able to do that because I have experience as a medical laboratory scientist in a regular lab. Do you understand? So, yes. So, for entrepreneurship and consultancy, like I said before, you can start a diagnostic lab. You can decide to, okay, that's good. Good to hear that it's audible. So you can start a diagnostic lab. You can also decide to do quality management consulting. You can work in healthcare education like me. I do a lot of healthcare education. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you see that I talk to people in public on LinkedIn, and then biomedical engineering too, which people who make the machines that we use in the lab is another field you can actually go into. Now, how did I choose the right career path? If I'm being very honest, I'm still choosing. I'm not done choosing. Like I said, please do not put pressure on yourself. I'm still choosing, but this was what helped me. First, I had to sit down and ask myself, what am I passionate about? I think Rita here said that she's passionate about teaching. She mentioned something about teaching. Okay. So Rita said she likes teaching, meaning that's something she's passionate about. Okay. The next question I asked myself is, what are my strengths? I have always been somebody who carries people on my back. as a regular person, not even as a scientist. And so part of the things that became my strength was leadership. Now, it may not be the same for you. You might be somebody who is good in calculations, who is good in statistics. That can be your strength. You can be somebody who just doesn't really see things going wrong in the lab. You like following the books, meaning you are tilting towards quality. You can be somebody who is just fascinated about the prospect of genes and all these connections and you want to understand it better. You can decide to can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, that's good. Now, those are the things I asked myself. What am I passionate about? Where are my strengths? What impact do I want to make? Okay. I asked, what impact do I actually want to make? Do I want to sell things? Um, do I want to mentor other professionals? Do I like to do that? Do I want to influence public health policy? Do I want to advance research? Do I want to improve patient outcomes? These were the questions I had to ask myself. And then where do I actually see myself in 5 to 10 years? Do you see yourself as somebody who is heading the lab? Do you see yourself as somebody who owns his own multi-millionaire company selling lab consumables and machines? Do you see yourself as somebody who just found the cure for cancer? Do you see yourself as somebody who is opening labs for other people and they are paying the person, meaning you want to consult? Do you see yourself as somebody who is a global health leader? Now, these are questions that have to be tailor made. Please, like I said before, what somebody is doing shouldn't be what you are doing. Don't just follow the crowd to do things just because you feel that is the next best thing. Because everybody is doing masters doesn't mean you need to do masters now. Do you even know the field you want to go and do the masters in? I had to sit down to really, really check that, I wanted to really do a master's in public health. But do you? Or biomedical science may just be what you need to do your master's in, or even molecular. Do you understand? Or even an MBA, business administration. You could do your master's in business administration, or you could do your master's in governance. You want to go into policy making. You could do your master's in global health policy. You could do your master's in governance. Why is everybody going into public health? And that shouldn't mean that you too you should follow and enter into public health. I just want to make this clear. So I had to ask myself these questions on how to choose the right career path. Some of the skills that set me, this looks very faint, I'm so sorry. Some of the skills that set me apart, that can set you apart and are highly sought for by employers. I want you to take note of these skills because these are not skills that are taught in school. They are skills that you have to learn by yourself. Okay. The general ones are, like I've been hammering on, QC, QMS, ISO. How do you learn them? You go to places like, the thing is, you go to what do you call it, places like Udemy, Allison, and read up on these things and get certificates on them. Okay. Lab Systems Africa, the organization that is in charge of this webinar, also has things on ISO, things on QMS. Please check the description box in this video. You would see links to all the courses that you might need. Even the places, the things I didn't mention, some of the careers I didn't mention that you can branch into as a biomedical scientist. There is actually a guide that was published by by Lab Systems Africa, and it's in the description box. Okay, career mode roadmap for biomedical scientists. You find numerous careers that you can be part of, you can learn, you can just check it to see if it fits with you, and then how you can get into those careers. This webinar may not be as exhaustive, but the PDF guide is there to help you. Okay, but then you also have Coursera, you have Allison, you have Udemy, you have Global Health for those who are interested in public health. Okay, you have Disaster Ready. They are all, check the description box, it's already there. the description box of this video, it is there. So yes, you need your QC, you need your QMS, you need your ISO, you need instrument operation. There is this course called laboratory instrumentation. Okay, you can find it online, laboratory instrumentation. Just go to Google and put laboratory instrumentation courses, free courses, if you want to pay, if you don't want to pay for it. So laboratory instrumentation is something you should know. And then if you are somebody who has been operating machines, please always put it in your CV. These are skills that employers need. But how will they know that you have it if you are not putting these things in your CV? Please always put them. Laboratory instrumentation. I have operated over 50 machines, right? Maybe you have operated 3 machines. Put it in your CV. Laboratory safety. If you have worked with biosafety cabinets, if you have worked in a lab 1, lab 2, lab 3, lab 4, whatever tier of laboratory you've worked in, please put it in your CV. These are skills that employers need. And then you can take courses on biosafety, you can take courses on biorisks, you can take courses on biosecurity. Please be writing them down because they are very, very necessary for you. These are skills that set you apart: biorisks, biosafety, biosecurity. Okay, and then documentation. If you're someone that is a skill that employers actually need, and you need to show it in your CV. And then ISO, like I said before. Now, professional skills include communication. One of the things that we do that we were not taught in school, we were taught that lab used to hide. Like if you work in the lab, you don't get to see patients. I don't think it is true. I get to interact with patients often. When they come to take sample, what do you tell them? Are you able to talk fluently? A patient is asking you, why are you taking my blood from the left hand rather than the right hand? Can you explain it to the patient? A patient is asking you, why do I need to fast? Can you explain it to the patient with professional lingua? This is very important, professional lingua. Now, a patient is asking you, what do you think about me drinking water? Can you explain it to the patient? Communication is a skill that sets you apart when you are being interviewed, even to communicate before the panel. I have had people who have come for interviews and they were not taken, not because they are not good enough. They couldn't prove to the team they're actually good enough. So please, you need to, if you are someone who is an introvert, you cannot be an introvert and expect to go far. I'm so sorry, but I don't know how you are going to really do well as a career person if you don't know how to let people see your worth. And you let people see your worth by what you say. Okay? And then leadership is also another skill. Maybe you were a course rep in school. Go to ChatGPT. Ask ChatGPT, how can I write that I was a course rep in school in my CV? It will give you words. You take those words and you put it in your CV. It showed that you have held positions. Maybe you were a head in your internship. Maybe you've even the smallest and tiniest role, reflect it in your CV. It's a leadership skill. Put it under leadership and skills, which should be in your CV. There's a place called leadership and skills. Put it under there. And then you have teamwork, show problem solving, and show critical thinking. These are skills that set you apart. Now, certifications that add value to you. Certifications that add value. Please start with quality management system. I keep reiterating it, but this does not apply to everybody. If you want to go into academia, for example, you have no business with quality management system. But if you are going to work in the lab, either immunology, hematology, clinical chemistry, molecular, whatever, you need to show that you are actually versed in QMS. And QMS can also be tailor-made to those different fields. So another certification you need to get is QC and QA. Another certification is Good Clinical Laboratory Practice, GCLP. Another certification is Biosafety. Another certification is Infection Prevention. It's not for everybody though, but it's necessary. Another certification is ISO 15189, not 089, 2022. That's the one we are currently on. Laboratory instrumentation, public health courses, molecular courses. If you're somebody who is doing that, if you want to work as a research assistant, you have to go for research assistant courses. So you see that you should not just be taking any course that relates to biomedical science. No, Take courses that reflect where you are going. It can show that this person is diligent about building a career. Take courses that can reflect. There are courses that are generic. There are courses that are tailor-made. Someone who is going for supply chain procurement can take courses on supply chain and procurement in addition to quality management system, QCQA. Those are general. But not somebody who wants to go and work in academics is now taking courses in procurement. Why? What are you using it to do? Just because you want to show on LinkedIn that you too you are making progress. No, tailor it. What do you want to go for? If you have been checking jobs and the jobs you are seeing is asking for you to have good laboratory practice, you take the course. So there are courses that are general and there are courses that are tailor-made. So you have to remember that this certificate you are getting do not replace competence. For example, let's take example. I have a certificate in QMS. I sit before an interview panel and they are asking me, oh, this is your certificate in QMS. You got it in 2026. Yes, I did. Can you tell me about it? How do you apply? What kind of QC do you do in the laboratory? Tell me about quality assurance. What's the difference between quality assurance and quality control? And give me practical example. Can you defend that certificate? So after getting those certificates, please apply it in the lab. That is why when you are taking courses, you should have a book. I have a book where I write down. Some people just jump to where they have the exam. Then they write the exam, they get the certificate, and they come and post it on LinkedIn. No, I have a book that covers my courses that I take. Then I sit down to read those books. By the time I go to the lab the next day or something, I am now trying to understand what is the practical application of this. For example, biosafety. Biosafety, I finish getting a course and I get a course and I am certified. How do I translate this biosafety inside the lab? How? Waste segregation is part of biosafety. What you put inside black, if an interviewer is asking me now, this certificate you got on biosafety, please translate it to practical examples in the lab. I'll sit down, I'll tell you about waste segregation. Black bin, red bin, yellow bin, segregation of waste in the lab. How we discard liquid waste, how we discard solid waste, how I work on tuberculosis samples and the measures I take to protect myself from airborne, blah, blah, blah. This is how you translate that certificate you posted to, you translate that certificate to become practical things and you can defend it before an employer. Do you understand? I don't know if you get what I mean. So the certificate gets them, but more than that, you should be able to translate it. The certificate might get you before an interview panel. They might be impressed. They see your CV amongst 1,000 people. Maybe you're the only one who has taken initiative to take courses. But by the time you sit before that panel, can you defend that certificate? That is one question you should ask yourself. Now, build a winning CV. I cannot overemphasize this, okay? You have to build a winning CV. Now, there are many people whose CVs are apologetic. I won't even lie. You see their CVs and you are like, did these people finish from the university? Like I said, because I am a head of department, I have been for like a couple of years now in different organizations. I get to sit down in interview panels, even if I'm not HR. But at least you get to sit down to choose the people you want to work with based on the technical aspect. And you are looking at CVs and you're wondering, a CV should have your professional summary. If you don't know, please ask ChatGPT. This is the era of technology. You should not tell me you don't know how to write professional summary. You don't know it, fine. They don't teach us these things in school, but the onus lies on you to know these things. So the first thing is professional summary. Okay. Now, after your professional summary, the next thing you go is your core competencies. For example, I have competencies in QC, I have competencies in QM, I have competency in public health, I have competency in workforce development, I have competency in mentorship, I have competency in ISO. I will just list them down. And let me give you a tip. For most people now, they use AI to screen. You see all those things where when you're applying for a job, they'll tell you, you must have this, you must have that. Go and highlight those things and put it in your CV. When the AI scanner is scanning, it will move your CV to the next stage. That is a tip for someone. Those things that they tell you. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me now? So sorry for the network glitch. So, as I was saying, period to now, you should have that as your key competency. So, the first thing on your CV for a professional CV. Now, this does not apply to an academic CV. Okay. But the first thing is your professional summary. If you don't know it, please ask ChatGPT. The next thing is your key competencies should be there, which are your achievements. It could also be your achievement. And then you could have like your work experience now, which is next, right? And then after your work experience, you have your education, and then you have your education, you have your professional affiliations. Professional affiliation means for me now as a Nigerian licensed person, I am registered under my Nigerian council. I'm also registered under African Laboratory Council. I also have a registration with Quality Systems something something of Africa. So this falls as my professional affiliation. Keep it concise. If you are not a professor, or if you don't have at least 5 to 7 years of experience, please your CV should fall between 3 pages. All this age, where you are from, your hobbies, all those things is not important. Remove it from that CV. Okay? Please remove them from your CV. They are not important. So keep it concise and keep it tailored. Next, LinkedIn is your digital CV. This is not, except you are Elon Musk, eh? Or you are one billionaire like that. If you are a career person, not a business person, if you are a career person looking to build your career, LinkedIn is your CV. Please put yourself out there. And the best thing you can do for yourself is to put yourself in the field that you want to. If I'm somebody who wants to build a field in public supply chain now, I will go and follow people that are in supply chain. I will start posting small, small on supply chain, small, 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 small on supply chain. If I'm somebody that wants to build a career now in academic, right? Maybe I've set my eye in one university in my country or even outside the country. I will go and follow professors. I will follow professors. I will follow doctors that are in that field. And I will start posting small, small in that field. Some people just they are posting things about telling people how their health should be, how this should be, and how that should be, rather than building something in the field they are interested in. Please don't be everywhere. Experts are people who are good in one field. That's how you become an expert. That means you are so good in a particular field. Okay. So you should have a photo. Please don't put a cat, don't put a dog, don't put a random thing. Put a professional photo. If you don't have money to do one, just stand near a black dog or a passport and upload it. Put a headline. You are an emerging person looking to learn in so, 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 and so, and so. Put an about section. That about section that you put in your CV, copy it and paste it in your LinkedIn. Okay? Show your achievement, small, small. You must not put everything, but please show your achievement and then share valuable content. This one is networking. I've had people reach out to me and they're like, Scientist D, I would like you to mentor me and all that. It's fine. Okay. So please reach out to people that are in your field. But before you reach out to them, engage their post. If you engage somebody's post 10 times, you will catch the person's eye. So when you send a message to the person is not, it feels obliged to answer you. I kid you not, in the years I've been working, all the jobs I have done so far, except one, but all the jobs I have done so far, I have gotten them by recommendation. Somebody just recommended me to a job, and the next thing I am employed. Okay. Some people will say that corruption or whatever, I don't know. But it's just me leveraging on networking. And also, my skills are there to show for it. I'm a very good professional and I know it for a fact. So I need you to have that confidence too in yourself. And you will have this confidence if you've been following what I've been saying bit by bit. Please network. Network with your peers. It must not even be up people up there. Even people that are your peers can also help you. Your next opportunity can come from your mentor. Your next opportunity can come from a colleague, a lecturer, a conference that you attend. If you can attend conferences, please by all means go ahead. I'm trying to give more time for our questions. So, what is your career roadmap now? Build what? Skills. You already know the different areas I've talked about, okay? So please build your skills based on what I asked in terms of what you're passionate about. Pick out 3 to 4 fields that you must not pick one. Pick 3 to 4 fields that you think you might be remotely interested in. And for the next 6 months of this year, I want you to invest in yourself. Take it as an investment. Paid courses, things you read, certifications. Remember, not packing all the certifications. In those three, or let's narrow it down, say 2 to 3. 2 to 3, okay? Build skills in it, hands on. If you need to go change your job into a job that will allow you to have more hands on experience, please go for it. If you are a student in school, don't put pressure on yourself. Focus on your education alongside networking. Come to LinkedIn. Please go and open a LinkedIn account. If you're a student, open a LinkedIn account. Be posting about your school. Today I learned that this one happened. Tomorrow I learned this one in this place. Yesterday I learned this. Open a LinkedIn account and then begin to spot people that you feel can mentor you. Spot them and like their post. Comment on it. Don't go. Some people use ChatGPT to comment. I know ChatGPT comments very well. Please comment from your head. Comment original comment. Do you understand? Start from school if you are still in school. If you are outside school for the next 6 months, 2 to 3, pick 2 to 3 fields that you like, that you think you might have interest. Network and volunteer. If you have the time, volunteer. Voluntary cannot just be. It may not just be physical. You can volunteer online. You can volunteer for a conference to go and be people. I used to do that a lot. I would go and volunteer to be ushers, like ushers in a medical conference, and from there I would get contact of those top keynote speakers. Volunteer, then specialize. But first, build skills before you specialize. Do you understand? Build the skills. You can take this 6 months and you build skills for yourself, and then you specialize. So, what is my advice to every graduate? Please don't compare your journey. Omo Toyosi Fetia, your journey is different from Abdullahi Abdullahi Adamu Musa. Your journey is different from Rita. Your journey is different from Peter. Your journey is different from Aaron. Your journeys are different. The way to thrive in this profession is to not compare your journey. If not, you become depressed. You feel like you're not doing anything. Meanwhile, you're even doing better than the person that is even posting. Learn continuously. We are scientists. Scientist means that we are learning, we are improving, we are applying. So learn continuously, build competence, find mentors, and please stay consistent. So I'm so sorry, we have 15 minutes, but we can take questions and I would answer all your questions. Please put your questions in the chat box. It's time for questions and answers. Okay, so you want me to go back to molecular diagnostics and genomics. Okay, let me take the slide back. So just give me a short while. Let me go back to molecular diagnostics and genomics. So molecular diagnostics, like I said, is a field that you can build on as a biomedical professional. Okay. And then for this particular field, you actually need further degree. You need actually a further degree. Either you decide to go for an MSc in molecular biology, an MSc in molecular diagnostics, genetics. But for this particular course, you need an MSc for it because as an undergraduate, we're not really exposed to a lot in terms of molecular diagnostics. So you actually need you need to further your knowledge, number one. And then number two, you need hands-on experience. So if you are working in a country where you have a molecular based hospital or a lab that has a molecular unit, please aim to go and work there. You get so like I was saying, yes, if you have a laboratory in your country or where you stay that has a molecular unit, please aim to work there because that's the only way you get a molecular diagnostic experience. And for most jobs that are based on molecular diagnosis, you just need to have the hands-on experience. It's not negotiable at all. Do you get? So you have to, if you can do an internship in an organization that um, has a molecular diagnostics lab, you know, you just have to get hands-on experience, and then also you get your MSc in this field. Now, you can work in a reference lab, you can work in a genomics center, you can work in a molecular lab, and then the roles that are in this includes your molecular scientist, PCR specialist, a genomic specialist, sequencing specialist, etc. I hope that answers your question. I hope that answers your question. Okay. So for Alhassan Adija too, please, someone who would like to go into research, what are the certifications you would recommend the person get? Okay, one of the certifications I recommend you get is research ethics. First, you can get a certification on clinical research. It depends. Are you going to academic research or are you going into clinical research? If you want to go into clinical research, you get certifications on clinical research. Is a course. Do you understand? You can get certifications on scientific writing. which is how to write it. You can get certification on quantitative research. You can get certifications on qualitative research. You can get certifications of on ethics, bioethics, which is very important. So these are the certifications I would say you get. Any other question? If you're not okay, please put it in the chat box and I would respond again. Rita said, sometimes we want to volunteer so we can improve, and maybe you are limited, you are up country, limited lab and limited project. Oh, okay, I can understand this. Is there any option to volunteer online? Yeah, virtual volunteering still counts. You can volunteer online. You can do you get so maybe you can consider doing that volunteering or even on their own, people who have laboratories, okay? You can just reach out to any of them and tell them you'd like to come work in their lab at maybe 2 times a week or once a week for free. Use your eyes to learn first. Use your eyes to learn first. They would definitely give you an opportunity if you are consistent, even if it's once. That's using your eyes to learn. Put it on your CV. Do you understand? You don't need to really put on your CV that you did not have hands-on experience. If what you are seeing, you are certain that if you are given an opportunity, you can apply it, put it on your CV. Do you understand? But first, even if it's twice a week, just learn virtually, learn as you are looking at it. If they give you an opportunity once, fine, you take it. If they don't, put it on your CV. Do you understand? Hence, so when you get an opportunity, you can apply it. Okay. Another question. I'm someone that like bench work, but I used to ask myself a question sometime. I want to get more knowledge about this department. So how can I get the confidence? Mm, Okay, yes, actually. I like the fact that you actually know that you like clinical chemistry. Okay. I'll tell you something I tell my staff or my younger colleagues. Clinical chemistry, to be proficient in clinical chemistry, you have to be able to correlate. That's the first thing. You have to be able to correlate. Okay. So if you are correlating, what I mean is I get a result, a creatinine result, for example, 1000 millimole per liter or 1000 micromole, as the case may be, right? And then after getting this result, I'm saying that the person's urea is also high. I should be able to correlate that this person is having a kidney problem. In clinical chemistry, correlation is one thing that gives you confidence a lot. Number one, correlating different results, knowing what this person is getting by just looking at it. That's number one. Number two, how do you get confidence in clinical chemistry? Is by reading, oh, my dear. You have to take a lot of courses, especially clinical based courses. ISO, QMS, all this. You have to know it. You have to study a lot. Yes, the school is not preparing us, but we are already here. We are out here already, and we cannot depend on undergraduate. We have to make progress with what we have on ground. So first, please build your skills. Next, learn how to correlate clinically. Correlate, if you see this result and you see that result, you are seeing a TSH that is zero point 0.4. You are seeing a T3 that is 800 and a T4 that is maybe 90. You should be able to correlate what is wrong with this person. It gives you confidence, but you cannot correlate if you don't know. Do you understand? So first, please build your skills, take a lot of courses, and not just for taking courses sake, for digestion of information. then learn how to correlate to a lot. Then please become one of my mentors who helped me up to now is an Indian man, and he taught me a lot because I attached myself to him to learn a lot. If you want to grow to help your younger ones, please attach yourself to older people. You now you are in the clinical practice, so you need these older people to be able to grow. So please attach yourself to them. Now, next question. What if someone is not really into employment but bio entrepreneur leveraging on issues in environmental? Okay, how does one network in terms of capital and grant access by proposal submission? So you said you are not into employment, but you want to network in terms of capital. Do you have a company, first of all? That's one question. Okay. Do you have a company? If you have a company, is your company registered? Do you have tangible proof online? People don't just give you grants. You have to be able to be online for people to see the work you have done with your own money before you can get grants. And then proposal submission. I'm very certain you should know how to write a proposal, right? So if you know how to write a proposal, you have to also work on visibility. You are applying for a grant. Can your company be traced? Do you have visibility online? Do you have a track record? Tangible things that you have done online in environmental science, in waste management, blah, blah, blah. Do you understand? So that's how you do that. In that case, people are seeing what you are doing. Trust me, the internet is seeing. So that if people want to verify your company, they have something to look onto. Then the next one is networking. Please look for people that work in your field. And when you click on their profile to introduce yourself to them, you don't tell them that you're looking for grants. No, you just tell them that you'd like to learn from them. Do you understand? Those people can even recommend you for grants, things that they post online. But how would they recommend you if they are not seeing you online? So, like I asked, are you visible online? The work you are doing, is it online? Can people see it? That is the only way you can get grants. Networking, people in your field, just search on LinkedIn. By the time you like 5 people that are in the same field, LinkedIn algorithm will bring more people in that field to you. So you get to like more people. Do you understand? And then if they are seminars, events, and recycle products things, please go for them. Meet people, introduce yourself, introduce your work, have a card that you give to people, or your LinkedIn, like I said, is your online CV. People are seeing it. That's how you do that. I hope I answered that question. Then volunteering is an online is a new concept to me. How is that? People put out application for volunteers now. You volunteer online for laboratory aspect, yes, although it's mostly hands-on, but you can volunteer online if that is like a public health part of the laboratory. Yes, you can. Just search on LinkedIn, you will see a lot of them. Okay, Joseph said operations of machine, chemistry analyzers. Oh, no, no, no. Medical lab science doesn't end at releasing results. You have to correlate. In fact, that is one of the things that make me stand out in my career. I can see a lab result. If you'd like, let it come from 4 different departments, and I'll be able to correlate it across all 4. It is something you build. Please don't put pressure on yourself. It's something that you build. We'll soon be rounding up. We are at our time. Not sure if it's the same to you. But in SA, it's better to work in small labs where you get hands-on experience. Yes, it's the same thing in Nigeria. If you work in big labs, well, you get hands-on experience, but to take time. But working in small labs, yes, because you are being pushed to work more. Yes, it's the same thing here in Nigeria. Yes, you get when you work in small labs, in private labs, you get hands-on experience more. Yes, that is true. It's the same thing here. I don't even like government work to start with. I don't like big labs. All the labs I've worked with, yes, I've worked with a bit of government. I've also worked with private. I've worked with in public also. I've worked in reference. So yes, I agree. So I think we've come to the end of our question and answer. I wouldn't want to keep you longer than necessary. You have me on LinkedIn. If you have any question, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can ask your questions. Please, before you leave, do not forget to like and subscribe. Please subscribe to the channel so that more people can see this video, more people can watch this video, and it can help someone out there. I do hope you learned something from this. I hope you learned something and it gives you some sort of, direction and clarity as to what to do after now. Thank you to everybody who joined this. Everybody who joined this, I'm very grateful. Please do not forget to subscribe. It's very important to me. Please do not forget to subscribe. Just click on the subscribe button now. Just click, 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 click. Thank you to everybody who joined. There are people who reached out to be part of the clarity section. People who reached out to be part of the clarity section, I would send you an email to join the cohort, to join our cohort for our one-on-one mentorship. There you get to, be part of one-on-one mentorship, ask me more questions. I could hold your hands and guide you through different career paths that you choose to get. Thank you very much, Zazel. I hope it was informative. I hope you learned something. If you learned something, please put it in the informative section. If you learned something, put it in the chat box. Look forward to seeing next month in our next webinar that is also free. We'll be talking about a very interesting topic, so please stay tuned to our LinkedIn section. Have a wonderful day and bye.